I think when things got really difficult a couple of years ago, I had like a lot of some really serious stuff going on in my life. I think that, prayer and everything, I thought that prayer was supposed to fix those things. Like, all the bad things would go away. But
Cindy, congratulations is in order. You just got baptized recently.
yay.
How did it feel to get baptized at this point in your life?
It was wonderful. It was one of the best days ever because I think it really brings you closer to the Lord in a lot of ways. I mean, you're there and you've accepted Jesus, but just to actually do that, it's almost like it's another way to worship, and you feel almost like cleansed in a way. So it was great. I loved it. It was amazing.
Have you noticed any difference in the few weeks it's been since getting baptized? Has there been any changes in your life? And you don't have to say, yes. I'm just curious.
I think about living and loving like Jesus more because it kind of brings that to mind. I think that I don't see any like imminent changes, but I do see myself trying to forgive when I haven't forgiven before, like certain people in my life. I find myself, trying to be more sympathetic. I find myself just trying to do the right thing in general more because it's in the back of my mind after getting baptized that's really why I got baptized. To live and love like Jesus more and more and more.
Right. And do you think it makes a difference? I was thinking about this. Being in front of the church, by the way, we have a big church, versus just having done it in, say, your bathtub. Does that make a difference to you?
Yes, because it's like we're all there as one, we're like a church family. And it's like my church family was celebrating with me. So it's so nice that you guys were there. And so nice to have that kind of support because it's like a celebration, and it's nice to have everybody celebrate with you, even the people in the audience, because we're all basically here for the same thing, for loving Jesus and worshiping the Lord.
So why wait until your 60s to get baptized?
It's funny because I really never thought about it before, to be honest with you. I was kind of in and out of churches my whole life. My parents, brought us to church. We were like Easter churchgoers and Christmas churchgoers, like a lot of people are. And I went to church like maybe in my 40s and 50s, but it was never like I was committing to the Lord. I was going to church to go to church because I wanted to worship the Lord, but it wasn't something that was continuous in my life. A couple years ago, things were just bad. Like maybe 3 years ago, things were really bad. And I think, once I joined Bible study, which has been amazing for me, and learned about the Lord and learned a little bit more about Jesus and about the Lord by going to church. It actually made me committed in so many ways. And so I didn't really see the importance of getting baptized. And then once I started learning more about Jesus and going to Bible study and coming to church on a regular basis and having Christian friends, wonderful Christian friends, then I thought, what, this is really important. This is a really important thing to do in my life. And I didn't even think about my age because sometimes I don't like to think about that, but it's, so I think that, it was the right time. It's almost like the Lord was pointing me in that direction.
Well, I think you are a role model for people who are going to be listening who are your age and maybe haven't made that step. I think an encouragement for people. Did you grow up in a Christian home or?
It was a Christian home. We were Presbyterian, and I still don't know what that means. So that just goes to show you. It was a Christian home, but we were Easter and Christmas, Christmas.
They call them the CEO Christians, Christmas, Easter only. Yeah.
Christmas, we were the CEO Christians. Yeah. And my parents never encouraged us to read the Bible, and we were not raised that way at all. In fact, I don't even think we owned a Bible, believe it or not,
Mm.
but we were Presbyterian, and we did go to the CEOs. We were CEOs,
Yeah.
like total CEOs, and it was kind of more of my choice later in life to really follow the Lord. You know, I'm the one, and I had a friend that encouraged me to do so as well.
Did anything change in your life that caused you to seek God more?
I think when things got really difficult a couple of years ago, I had like a lot of some really serious stuff going on in my life. I think that, you know, prayer and everything, I thought that prayer was supposed to fix those things. Like, you know, all the bad things would go away. But what I learned is that those things don't go away, but, you know, you have almost like a protection. God is there with you, you know. It doesn't change the bad things that happen to you necessarily, or the bad things that happen in your life
Right.
necessarily, but it does change your heart, and it does change, you know, the way you feel about those things. And, you know, it's almost like you have that support that you never knew you had. The most important support you could ever have, right?
Right. And will continue even at past this life have, right? Not only
Yeah,
God himself, but also fellow believers, right, into eternity. So that's
exactly.
God's family you're
Yeah.
baptized into. So to
God's
speak, right?
family, yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share or encourage people about? Or
Let's see. Well, first of all, I don't think there's any good or bad age to get baptized. I think it's, you know, I think it's more special when you it's really important to you and you really want to do it. I think that really makes it special. So, you know, I'm not saying that in my 60s, I'm necessarily more mature, but I am like more committed to, you know, like really following the Lord and being baptized. And, you know, and sometimes I think you realize things later in life that you don't realize earlier in life. And it really is, you know, people my age or even older, you know, it might seem like it's kind of a hard ritual to go out there, get dunked in the water and everything. Once you realize like really how important it really is, it changes everything, and it changes your heart, and it brings you closer to the Lord. And that in itself is the most important thing in the world.